Welcome back, boils and ghouls. Known mostly for his work on Universal horror monsters, Basil Gogos might not seem like the kind of person I'd talk about on this channel immediately. Basil Gogos is world famous, but he's definitely most closely associated with his monster portraits produced mainly for the Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine. Famous Monsters was put out by Warren Publishing though, and Basil Gogos did a number of covers for their horror anthology series Creepy and Eerie, which is where I actually first stumbled upon it. Now, Basil Gogos' insane color palettes and unique approach easily put him in the same league as Frank Frazetta and Wally Wood, true masters of their craft. FantaCo Books recently put out a rare and expensive collection of pencils and preliminary work from Basil Gogos entitled The Monster Art of Basil Gogos that got me thinking. Most of the 200-page book has never been seen before. It is awesome, but it is also super expensive, listing at $100. Only containing roughs and unfinished work, it's definitely a niche publication. If you're looking to get into Basil Gogos, it's definitely not the place to start either, and I'm honestly not sure how many people know about Basil Gogos at this point, especially not enough to cough up the massive price tag for this book. There is an older Vanguard book though, Famous Monster Movie Art of Basil Gogos, which is an awesome introduction and primer course for Basil Gogos' entire career. Famous Monster Movie Art is much less expensive than Monster Art, has a host of Basil Gogos' work from every period of his career up to its publication in 2005, and it includes a wealth of information about his life and career to boot for a quarter of the price. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about who Basil Gogos was, show you all some of my favorite pieces, and in the process hopefully be able to explain why Basil Gogos is so important in my opinion. Sit back, relax, and chill. You're not lost, you're just off the beaten rack with Basil Gogos. Monster Art of Basil Gogos, put out in 2019 by FantaCo Books. It's like 200 pages of rough sketches, preliminary color tests, and other odds and ends from legendary illustrator Basil Gogos. But why, for the love of all that's holy, would people pay $100 for a book of sketches? I feel like there's a lot of people asking this question when they see the solicitation or they come up on this book itself. The Monster Art of Basil Gogos is extremely well done, plumbing the darkest and deepest depths of the archives and personal collections of fans and the family's estate to produce nearly 200 pages of previously unseen work from Basil Gogos. But its greatest strength is perhaps also its greatest weakness. If you don't know who Basil Gogos is going in, this book is almost useless. And what's worse, it might be boring. If you're looking to get into Basil Gogos and his work, there really is no better place to start than the Famous Monster Movie Art by Vanguard Publishing. I've bookmarked some pages, so we'll just flip through a little bit and show off some of his stuff while I give you a little background on Basil Gogos and his work. If you're interested in picking this up, I'll also make sure to stick links in the description below. You can pick it up super cheap on Amazon. Born in Egypt in 1929, Basil Gogos immigrated with his family to the United States when he was 16. He had pursued art from an early age, but after moving here to the United States and holding down some menial labor jobs, studying art in his off time and on the side, Basil Gogos decided it was time to get more serious about this art thing. Surprisingly, it wasn't until his 30s when he provided the cover for a novel entitled Pursuit in 1959 that his professional art career began. The cover to Pursuit was actually done while he was still a student as part of a contest that he won, and he did win a second award and had a second cover published right here. In the fall of 1960, he got a call that would change his life. James Warren, who had launched the magazine Famous Monsters of Filmland 2 years earlier with writer and noted original superfan Forrest J. Ackerman, was looking for a cover artist for the series. He wanted something different, colorful, and original. Warren was literally famous in the industry for finding artists that he liked and giving them next to complete and utter creative control, trusting them entirely on their own to produce something from the gut. Frank Frazetta said he continued to work for next to nothing with Warren for years because of the freedom that the publisher allowed him, producing some of his favorite and his most memorable pieces for the Warren line. Basil Gogos, on the other hand, had no idea what to make of this because he was paying the bills doing covers for what we call men's adventure magazines now. They're not Tijuana Bibles or Playboys, they're softer than that, but their covers have become legendary, and many comic book artists of the time worked on men's adventure covers just to put food on the table, get some experience, or just add another publisher to the resume. Some really amazing artists, and in fact, some really amazing art actually came out of these magazines, but artists were all expected to stay within certain boundaries, from subject matter to construction, and even down to the colors of paint that they used. As a result, when Gogos was told by Warren to do something different and colorful, he literally had no ideas. He was fresh out of school, 2 years deep in the magazine cover racket, and all the while was being told how things should look and should be constructed. James Warren simply gave Basil Gogos a photo reference of Vincent Price and sent him on his merry way. The result would change not only Basil Gogos' career, but the entire illustrative art field. The explosion of color is incredible to look at. Even now in 2020, I cannot imagine coming up on this on a newsstand or magazine rack in 1960. There would have literally been nothing else that looked like it. It had to look almost alien. James Warren loved it, and so did the readers. Fan reaction was incredible, and Basil Gogos quickly became almost as synonymous with famous monsters as Forrest J. Ackerman. When he decided to take a break from the covers and concentrate on some other work, fans begged for Basil Gogos to come back, and eventually he would renege and come back. After the break, he was different. He'd spent time refining and working on certain aspects of his art, and again allowed the same freedoms as before. Gogos' art began to evolve all over again. While he would ultimately leave the horror genre for over a decade in the 1980s, Basil Gogos spent the better part of 20 years creating some of the most iconic horror images of all time for famous monsters of Filmland, Eerie, Creepy, and a host of other magazines. This second run of covers that he did for famous monsters is just nuts. It is otherworldly. The color and construction of the pieces is dramatically increased, and the quality of his work just kept getting better over time. Apart from Frank Frazetta, I had and have never seen paintings of this quality done for comics or magazines. In the 1990s, with the resurgence in popularity for Universal Monsters and his work in particular, Basil Gogos would return to the horror field once again, this time ultimately to stay. From that point until his death in 2017, Basil Gogos produced some of the most celebrated and iconic horror imagery on the planet. The years that he had spent working on fine art melted into his older illustrative portraiture style, and well into his 60s, Basil Gogos' art exploded once again. The pieces from this period are literally some of the greatest paintings I've ever seen. They're unparalleled in the genre for me, and the list of other painters that possess this level of talent is short and sweet. Basil Gogos' reach is far, his influence is incalculable. He's done everything from the cover to Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe album, to men's adventure magazines, to movie posters, to ad campaigns, and everything in between. Basil Gogos literally redefined the approach that publishers and in turn illustrators took to cover illustrations. If you want to learn more about Basil Gogos and see more of his work, links to these books are in the description below. I hope you all enjoyed. If not, tune in tomorrow, totally different video about a totally different book. If you did, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you really liked what you saw, Hulk smash that subscribe button. If you do that, make sure you ding that little notification bell so you keep up with all these videos that I'm dropping all the time. If you liked what you saw or you have a request for a video, make sure you get in the comment section below and let me know. It really helps me out, and I love talking to you guys. If there's something that I can help you out with and make an episode happen for you, I will do it. Thanks again for sticking with me. I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, I really, truly, and honestly ask only two things. Keep hitting those local shops and keep reading comics. Happy New Year's, folks.